Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this clay alien in 3 parts. The first part, I'll show you how to draw and sketch out your ideas. The second video, part 2, I'm going to show you how to use clay and build this using a pinch pot. In the last video, part 3, we will paint the clay project with glazes. This is where we design our clay alien. You will need something to color with. I'm going to use colored pencils in this video. You could also use crayons or markers. You will need a piece of paper. I'm using a page from my sketchbook, and you will also need a pencil to draw with. All right, first I'm going to draw an upside down U curved line. Then at the bottom, I'm going to make like a curved, like almost like a smile line. So that's the shape of the pinch pot, like with the bottom going down, the opening at the bottom. Then I'm gonna make one like a letter U going up, and then an opening here, because this one will be open and an oval inside. And then the last one will be on its side, so it's gonna look like a letter C. And then here, like a really skinny oval going up, make an inside like that, okay? So here we have our pinch pot like going down, here it is open, and this one is open to the side. So from here, I'm going to decide what kind of alien I want to make. So I'm going to draw details on each one of these and see if I want it to go down, up, or to the side. I think an alien would have some strange looking eyes, maybe some tentacles instead of arms. It could be covered with scales or slime, or we're not sure. So use your imagination. I'm going to try a couple different ideas, and then I'm going to color them, and we'll see how they turn out. And then I'm going to pick one to make out of clay. I'm done coloring the one that I've selected. When using clay in my classroom, I give each student a large piece of cardboard to work on. This helps keep the tables a lot cleaner. You could also use a piece of board like this. Another suggestion might be covering the surface area with a large piece of paper so that the table doesn't get dirty. You will also need some clay. I'm using this gray clay right now. It turns white after firing. I store it in baggies, and before I close the bag, I like to spray a little bit of water in there to keep it moist so it doesn't dry out. A cup of water, a spray bottle with water too. I like to have some brushes in case I need to smooth out the clay. You can also use the brushes to add a texture to the clay. And then you will need a variety of clay tools, carving tools, tools that can smooth out the clay, tools for poking into the clay, drawing into the clay, things like that. I will be wearing gloves during this lesson just to keep my hands clean so I don't have to dig clay out from under my nails. In case I'm eating right after I work on this. But you guys can just use your bare hands. Just make sure you wash with soap and water really well after handling all the clay. When you get your clay, take a piece off so that you can use this extra piece for the eyes and the other details on your pinch pot. Put that aside. And then with your remaining clay, you want to roll it up into a ball. You can use your cardboard, roll it up, try to squish out any air bubbles in your clay. Air bubbles are bad for a clay project because when they heat up in the kiln, it could cause your project to break and explode. So make sure you squish it and don't get any air pockets or air bubbles inside your clay. All right, once you have it rolled into the ball, you're going to take your thumb and you're going to put your thumb right into the clay, just like that. Then, this is why it's called a pinch pot. You're going to put your thumb inside the hole you just made with your fingers on the outside of the clay, and then you're going to kind of just pinch it and turn it. Pinch and turn. Okay, until it starts looking like a bowl or a small pot. That's why it's called a pinch pot, because we're pinching the clay and turning it into a pot. Keep going around. You want this part to be about the width of your pinky finger. If you make it too skinny, it could crack. If you notice any small cracks along the surface of your pinch pot, you want to get some water on your finger and you want to smooth those out. Any small cracks will tend to get larger as the project dries. So that's what I'm going to do here, smooth out any cracks. In the back here too. All right, looking back on my sketchbook on the design that I chose, the pinch pot's going to be this way on its side. All right, so you'll notice my top design, the pinch pot was face down. On this one, it's facing upward like this, like that. And the one that I chose, it's going to be like on its side like that. I'm going to take my extra clay that I separated from the project earlier, and this clay is what I'm going to make all the features, like the eyes, the tentacles, and the teeth of my alien. So first, I think I'm going to start by making some of the tentacles. So I'm going to take a piece of clay and kind of roll it and make it look like a tentacle shape. Pointy on one side and wider on the other. And kind of smooth it out. Something like that. Now before I attach it to the clay project, if you just stick it on like that, it's not going to stay. So there's a way to remember how to put clay on your project. It's called the 4 S's. So the first S is we have to score the clay, which means that we're going to scratch into the clay with a pointed tool. I'm also going to scratch into the piece I'm attaching, back and forth, kind of like letter X's and like a hashtag, kind of like that, make a nice texture. The next S is slip. So we're going to put some water on here, and I'm going to put some water on here, and it makes the clay kind of real sticky, almost like glue. And the third S is stick. Now it's time to stick. So we're going to press them together. I have one finger inside the project and one out, and I'm pushing down. Okay. And the last S stands for smooth. And for this, I like to use one of my carving tools, and I'm going to press the clay down and smooth it into the pinch pot. So this part of the tentacle I'm blending in. So the idea is that you can't tell that you attach this at all. It looks like it's just part of the alien. And then you can go back with some water. You can use your spray bottle if you want, and give it a little spray, smooth it out with your fingers. At this point, you could also use one of your brushes if you have a brush and smooth it out a little bit. All right, I'm finished with the tentacles. This is what it looks like from the front so far. You can see the above view. So I try to make each tentacle going in a different direction. Now I'm going to add some eyes, and in my initial drawing I had 3 eyes. So I'm going to make 3 balls of clay, 1 for each eye. I did need extra clay, so make sure you have extra clay on hand when you're working on a project in case you need it. I'm going to roll some eyeballs here. There's 1. 2. And 3, and you can make them different sizes. Remember, you're going off of your drawing. My drawing looked like this, so let's see if those are about the right size. If I like it, I think that'll work. So just like I did with the tentacles, you're going to score the clay, which means you scratch into the clay that you are attaching and scratch the surface that you're attaching that piece to. Then you're going to slip the clay. You can use your finger in some water. You can also use the spray bottle. Okay, that makes a slip, makes it real slippery and sticky and like glue. Then we're going to stick those pieces together. Put one finger inside the pinch pot so it doesn't collapse. And the last thing is to smooth. And I usually like to use one of my carving tools because my fingers are too big to get into those little areas. So I'm going to smooth it out so you can't even tell that I attached it. Once I get this eyeball done, I'm going to repeat the same steps for the other 2 eyes. All right, I've added the eyes. This is what it looks like from the front. Here it is from the back. So 3 eyes. I'm gonna add some more details to that later. Now I'm gonna start working on the mouth. And in my initial drawing, I had a lot of teeth on the top and on the bottom, a lot of pointed teeth. So I think I'm going to make a lot of little like cone-shaped pieces of clay, like kind of like what I did with the tentacles, but much smaller. Maybe something like that for teeth. There we go. So I'm going to keep making those, and I'm going to add them by scoring it first, doing the slip, sticking it together, and then smoothing them out. I'm going to do the top and the bottom with those steps. Here we go. Remember to write your name on the bottom of your project so you can keep track of whose piece is whose. Not just your initials, write your whole name. All right, I'm gonna try adding some spots onto the alien skin with this tool. Just kind of press down into the clay and twist. All right, I noticed that the weight of the eyes is pressing down on the clay, so while this project dries, I'm going to put a piece of paper towel inside the mouth, and then I'll remove it once it's dry. Eat your paper towel, eat it, eat it. This is the clay drying cabinet. I want to show you the inside of it so you can see where I've placed the clay alien that I just made. The shelves in here have foam lining on them. Usually they're full of other projects, but just the clay alien today. This clay alien is going to dry for about 10 days or so until it has no more moisture in the clay, and that is called bone dry. So we're going to come back and check it out then. See you later, alien. Shh. Oh, night night. My clay alien, along with my students' clay aliens, are now completely dry and ready to be loaded up into the kiln. This is my kiln. This is where the clay gets fired. Here's the clay alien. We're going to use glazes to add color and make it shiny. You will need various colors of glaze to paint onto your clay project. These glazes are non-toxic, lead-free, and food safe. And 2 coats work really well, and you can fire it at a cone of 4 in your kiln. You will need a palette for the glaze. When I'm having my students paint their projects with glaze in my classroom, I put 1 cup at each table, and each table has a different color of glaze. Then the students can move around the room and use that color, and when they're done, they go to the next table and use that color. And at the end of the class, it's easier for me to clean up because I can take like this green glaze and put it back in the bottle, and then I'm not wasting any of it. You will need a cup of water for cleaning off your brushes. You will also need some brushes to paint with. You will also need a paper towel to dry off your brushes. Also, when I'm painting, I'm going to use this Lazy Susan. This spins around, and then it's easy for me to get to all sides of the clay project. Here's my clay alien. This is what it looks like when it comes out of the kiln. The clay has turned white. It's rock hard, and now it's ready to paint with glazes. I have the glazes on my palette. These are the colors from my original sketch. So I have purple, yellow, red, pink, green, and blue. I'm going to start by painting the inside of the mouth. Remember that 2 coats work the best, so after the first coat dries, apply a second coat. I finished painting my clay alien with glaze. Now it's time to let this dry, and then I will fire it again in the kiln. When it comes out of the kiln, some of the colors will be more vibrant. They will also be shiny. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one turns out. Here's how my alien project turned out. I think the colors look great, especially the contrasting yellow and purple colors here. I like how it's shiny now. I painted the bottom of the tentacles on my project, and I know I told you guys not to paint the bottom of your project because it could stick to the kiln shelf. But if you have one of these little stands, see how it's got these little metal spikes on it? You can rest your project on that and it will be elevated above the shelf, and then there will be no problem. It won't stick at all. I hope you enjoyed making this project with me today, and remember to keep your aliens well fed so they don't turn on you and Please check out my other videos, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.